Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Simply for Wellness. I'm your host, Bridget, and today we're going to be talking about how to get out of your head, how to stop overthinking. Before we get into that, I just want to give you guys a quick little update. I know my updates could be quite long, so I've been working on trying to cut it down a little bit. So as you guys can see, I have a new hair color. So I went for kind of like a copper balayage kind of thing, but not really copper, more of like a ginger copper. It's like a mixture of like a golden brown, copper, blonde, all bunched up together. So that's what this hair color is giving. Love it. I've been wanting to dye my hair for so long. I've never dyed my hair, well, except for black, but that was like when I was in middle school. This year was just a very empowering year for me. This year is really a rebuilding year for me. I don't know, it's just, I just felt really empowered. I just wanted to step into my power, and that's really what I've been doing. Just really stepping into my power, learning more about myself, learning new things, and how to elevate and just grow into the woman that I want to become. So yeah, I just love the hair color. Let me know what you guys think of it. Well, as you guys can know, I haven't posted last week, but I just been kind of living my life, enjoying my summer, but also how I mentioned in the last episode, I'm enjoying my 20s and really being young and going out and stuff like that. But I'm also trying to just work on my career, work towards my dreams while also having fun. So that's why I haven't posted last week, because I kind of had a little bit too much fun. I just had a really great week last week, and I'm having a really great week this week too as well. I've been really happy, really focused, and just stepping into my empowerment. That's a quick little update. I just hope that was quick for you guys. I know when I be editing and watching my updates, I'm like, girl, you talk so much. But yeah, that's a quick little update. So yeah, we're gonna get straight into today's episode. As you guys know, I read a lot. I love books. The 3 books that I'm currently reading right now is 101 Essays to Change the Way You Think, and then I'm reading The Mountain Is You, and then I'm also listening to an audiobook. It's called The Greatest Secret. In last week's episode, I mentioned I was reading 101 Essays to Change the Way You Think and The Mountain Is You. So today's inspiration of this video actually came from one of the books that I'm reading, which is The Greatest Secret by Rhonnda Brynes. I don't have the physical copy. I'm actually gonna get another copy of that book, because honestly, it's like a mind opener, whoa, literally just whoa. So I was listening to the audiobook, The Greatest Secret by Rhonnda Brynes. And like I mentioned, I don't have the physical copy, but I was listening to chapter 2, and I'm going really slow with the books. The one that I'm really going fast with right now actually is Healing is a New High. I was on chapter 2 and I was listening to the episode, right? This book is honestly amazing. If you guys don't know about Rhonnda Brynes, I really hope I'm saying her last name right. She is known for making The Secret, The Greatest Secret, The Greatest Secret to Money. She has all these empowering and spiritual books. So one of the books that I happened to listen to was The Greatest Secret. So I was listening to chapter 2, right? And it basically was talking about our mind and our body, and how we are not our mind and our body. We are not our thoughts. We are not our mind, and that we are not a person. I know you're probably listening to what? How am I not a person? And it goes way deeper than that. And that's what I'm going to be talking about in this episode. Not about not being a person, but really just kind of how to get out of your head and stop overthinking, and where the overthinking really comes from. So I had wrote down quotes that I want to talk about from the book, and also just things that I want to talk about in this episode. So if you guys see that I'm on my phone, I apologize. It just helps me remember and really just keep track of what I'm supposed to be talking about in this episode. The first thing that I have written here is one of the quotes that was said by the in the audiobook. Multiple people are in the audiobook. So it's not just Rhonnda Brynes. It's actually a whole bunch of practitioners, spiritualists, Buddhists, a whole bunch of people that's on that audiobook just wrote down each thing that really stuck out to me. So one of the quotes that I want to start off with is, "You are not your mind or brain. Your thoughts do not exist. We are not our thoughts. We are not living in the present because we are too focused on dreaming and paying attention to our thoughts. We have to wake up and focus on what we can do now, so we are no longer dreaming. Instead, we are living." I feel like that's something that really stuck out to me too, was because we're so focused on the past, the present, or the future. And a quote that I also saw the other day was, "You're so focused on the future that hasn't even happened yet." And I was just I was like, oh my God. And then even the book, when one of the, I think he was a Buddhist, and he was saying you keep worrying about the past, the present, who you're going to become, what you can do to get to XYZ, but really you're just dreaming. You're dreaming about what you want your life to look like 10 to 5 years from now, or you're thinking about what went wrong in the past and what you could have done differently. And he was just basically saying, just wake up. You know, that's not your life. Right now, in this present moment, while you're listening to this audiobook, is where you are right now. And I was just like, whoa, like I caught like an epiphany, like I caught like an awakening, and my eyes just widened, and I even just like, I cursed, and I was just like, what the fuck? Like, what? Like, whoa. It's so true. Like, we're constantly thinking about all those thoughts that are running through our mind. What ifs, what's that? Oh my God, I can't believe I did that in the past. I wonder what my future will look like. I wonder what I can do now. I don't know what to do. Like, you're asking so many questions. You're in your mind and you're trying to answer all those questions, and you're trying to think back to a memory. So much is going inside your mind. You're literally living in it. You're not in the present moment. You know how drinking and smoking, it just it's like an outer body experience. It's like you're not really like there, but you're there. So it's like when we're living in our head and in our mind, it's like we're daydreaming. We're not present. We're kind of just letting life pass us by. It's so realistic to know that the more you're really living in your mind and worrying about the past, worrying about the future. I mean, thinking about the past and worrying about your future, you're not doing anything right now to even get there, because you're so worried about the past. You're so worried about the future. And by you worrying about the future and what's happening now is going to affect the future. For example, let's say like you want to get an apartment, right? And I'm worrying about how I'm going to get there, right? How I'm going to accumulate $4,000, $5,000 by that time. How am I going to do that with this job, right? If I'm worrying about that and thinking about what I can do to get there, it's going to be too late by that time. I was so worried. I was so stressed about how I'm going to get the $5,000, and me stressing about the $5,000, I'm just pushing that aside by going out drinking or doing other things that just keep my mind away from that. And that's why people get into these like funks and these struggles, because they don't want to stress themselves out by thinking about how they're going to get there. You just got to do it. In order to get out of your head and stop the overthinking that you're doing, one of the greatest tips and greatest secrets that I learned from the greatest secret was, you have to tell yourself, are you aware? When I tell you, Rhonnda Brynes said this in the audio, and she was saying like the tips and the tricks on how to just be aware and really focus and getting out of your head, right? So she started off by saying to us, ask yourself, are you aware? Are you aware in this moment, in this place, in this world, in this environment? Can you feel where you are? Can you hear where you are? Can you taste what you're tasting? That will bring you back to the present moment. And that tip has helped me so much, and especially when it comes to drinking. Me in the past, like, I'm not afraid to tell you, like, I was really bad when it came to drinking, and it's because I wasn't aware of my surroundings. I wasn't aware of how much I was drinking, because I was just so worried, because I was just so in my head. I didn't notice that until, like, I started going to therapy, and I started doing the inner work and shadow working, right? And even just now, I kind of just had that realization, like, the reason why, like, I was just really sloppy when it came to drinking, I really didn't know my limits, just the bad side of me would come out, is because I was just so worried about what can happen or what I didn't want to happen, that I was just so unaware that I just kept drinking to just kind of not be in my head. And by doing that, it ended up just being worse for me. I just really want to thank Rhonda and all those creators and all the Buddhists and the practitioners, anyone that's on that audiobook and in that book. That tip has really helped me a lot, because now, like, when I'm out socializing, even if I'm not drinking and I catch myself like thinking in my head and I'm not present in the conversation that I'm having with other people, I tell myself, am I aware? When you tell yourself, are you aware? You already are aware. Your mind is already like, yeah, I'm aware. You start shifting your focus back to what's happening in the present moment right in front of you. So that's the first thing that you want to ask yourself is, are you aware? The second thing is to focus on one object in the room. It could be anything small, it could be anything big, but just focus your attention onto one object until your surroundings, but that object is blurred. Keep looking until everything starts being blurry, and the only thing that you see is that object, right? And once you're focused on that one object, you know how sometimes the camera just zooms into something really close, right? And then imagine the camera lensing opening, right? It's opening. Now you see everything. You see a whole landscape view. You're noticing your surroundings. What's next to that object? What's on top of that object? What's on the bottom of that object? What's that object used for, right? So you want to use the opening and closing of the lens, right? That's another great technique that can help you kind of just get out of your head. So if asking yourself, are you aware, doesn't help you, just want to get out of your head, out of your mind, right? So you just want to focus on this one object. Keep focusing until your thoughts are gone. And then slowly move your eyes and familiarize yourself with what's around you. So those are the 2 tips that really helped me really just get out of my head and really stop the overthinking. The only one that really works for me right now is asking myself if I'm aware. And then from there, I know what to do. And I'm just like, okay, am I really aware? Like, what am I doing? Where am I at? Like, okay. Another quote that I've gotten from The Greatest Secret was, how others see you contributes to your sense of self. Identifying with the body and mind is the only thing covering up what you truly are. I thought that was really interesting because you know how some people kind of have identity issues or like they don't really know who they are. A lot of the times when we're insecure and we have low self-esteem, our mind stores things that people tell us and that we kind of believe. When you overthink about yourself and your body and your hair, your face, your makeup, those thoughts aren't even our own. Those thoughts are someone else's. And we just kind of took it in as our own thoughts, but those aren't our thoughts. Those other people push those thoughts onto you, and now you're kind of believing them. Those are your limiting beliefs. Other people, how they think about you kind of contribute to how you think about yourself. And it's not all the time, you know, but people that aren't aware of that, that's where it comes from. Know what that, like, you're already thinking that you're the hottest girl, you're very beautiful, you're very pretty, you're the richest, whatever, you can get anything you want, right? But as soon as that one person tells you, like saying really negative things to you, a little part of us, we start to look at ourselves a little bit differently, just a little bit, right? For someone that's underdeveloped, right? Who don't have these key skills to really differentiate the two. Now we have someone else's thoughts contributing to our thoughts. It's adding another layer. Our thoughts, like a stream of a river. It never stops. Goes in, it goes out, it flows, and it just keeps flowing, but you just gotta let it flow out. He said, identifying the body and mind is the only thing covering up what you truly are. Your mind and body make up what we call a person. A person is what we experience, not what we are. We are not a person. If a person asks you what you are and you say a person, then you have to say which one. And for example, he gave an example. You were once a baby, a toddler, a teenager, adult, etc. Your personality is always changing. If your personality is you, are you an angry person, a sad person, a lovable person? You think you're all of them, but if you think you're all of them, the angry, sad, lovable person will disappear. Clearly, you are not your changing moods or personality. Who you are lies behind far who you think you are. All your psychological problems and thoughts are due to the imaginary self. In truth, there is no person, just the self. I know you guys are like mind blown right now because that's how I was when I was listening to the audiobook. Like I was just constantly like, oh my God, like I'm just really grateful for that book. I'm really grateful for Rhonda. Everyone's sharing these like this great wisdom. Like it's just really crazy to really think about that. But I really want you guys to really think about that in this episode and really think about that moving forward and know that you aren't a person. You are a self. A lot of things make up ourselves. A lot of things make up our personality. A lot of things make up our moods. We aren't our moods. We aren't our personality. We are constantly changing. Our personality changes. You know how they say you aren't the same person you were 5 to 10, 15 years ago. And it's true. We're constantly changing. We're constantly growing. We were once a toddler. We were once a baby. And now we're in our teenager years. Now we're a woman, a man. And then soon we're going to be an elderly person. So we're constantly changing. You know, we aren't our thoughts. We aren't our mind. We aren't our mind and body. We are ourselves. So remember, ask yourself, are you aware? Being aware of your surroundings will immediately get you out of your head. Another thing is to start journaling. Journaling and brain dumping really do work if you're into that. If you're not really into that, I recommend just asking yourself if you're aware or just focusing on one object. And for those of you guys that don't know what brain dumping is, it's basically just as soon as you wake up, or even like a little after you do your little morning routine and you have a moment to yourself, get a notebook, a piece of paper, and just write down whatever your mind is thinking. It's kind of like a to-do list, right? Or like journaling, but it's not talking about how you feel. It's literally just writing down whatever your brain is thinking, and just having it all on the paper, and then just look back at it, read it, and now it's gone. It's out of your mind. It's on the paper. You're no longer thinking about it, right? Then you start journaling. You start journaling how you feel, about how you feel for the day. Like you start doing things like that, right? Journaling and brain dumping, I recommend, really helps with getting out of your head and really stop overthinking, and then focusing on that one object, or really just asking yourself if you're aware. So those are the key things that I really say really help with overthinking and getting out of your head. Just keep focusing, keep being present. And remember, your mind and your thoughts are not you. They're imaginary. So whatever you're very scared of happening didn't happen yet. And whatever you wish you could have done in the past, it didn't happen. You just have to let the past be the past. And the future, you have to wait for it to unfold. And it won't unfold because you're in the present moment. You have to get there. You have to get there. It's literally like a vision board. You want that life, but you don't have it right now. You don't have it right now, but we have to work to get there. Get out of your head. Stop thinking about the future, and just focus on what you can do now to get there. So one last tip that I want to give you guys before we end this episode is from the book, The Mountain Is You. So it's from the book from The Mountain Is You. So it's like the ultimate seeker's guide for those brave enough to face their true north and take their power back. That's so funny because I was talking about taking my power back this year, and I bought this book this year. That's so crazy. But yes, one last quote that I want to give you guys before we go is chapter 1. You must first and foremost get out of denial and into clarity about what's really wrong. At this point, you have a choice. You can make peace, or you can commit to changing. The lingering is what is keeping you stuck. That was powerful. So get out of your head, figure out what the root of that is, right? Well, first become aware of where that problem is coming from. What is the root of that issue? Then brain dump, journal, and then you can really start shadow working from there. That's another thing that you can do. It's just shadow working. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Sorry for not posting last week. I hope those tips helped you. I hope those little quotes gave you a little bit of a motivation. I highly recommend The Greatest Secret. It's really just an amazing book. But if you're gonna get the audio version, I just have to give you a quick disclaimer. It's just like her movie. It's like she has like a whole bunch of music and like sound effects and all that stuff. If you're not really into that stuff, I mean, I am, because I don't know, it feels like I'm listening to a movie without really watching it. Yeah, that's a quick little disclaimer. But yeah, I recommend The Greatest Secret for sure. And then I recommend The Mountain Is You to end self-sabotaging and really just get the mountain back and understand that the problem is you, and that you are the only person that can get you to where you want to be. Yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. I love you guys so much, and make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you guys are watching on YouTube. If you're listening on Spotify, make sure to leave a rating for me, leave a comment, and make sure to follow the Simply for Wellness on Instagram and on YouTube. And if you want to follow my personal account, my personal Instagram is Bridget.p. Feel free to message me on Instagram, or you guys can send me an email. I love you guys. Stay tuned next week for another episode. I'm trying to just post a little bit more on Instagram on the wellness page. So I hope you guys have an amazing week. Remember who you are. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.